But let's talk about Tiffany Henyard, her interview today with Cleopatra Draper on WVON. Now, I'm going to say that this interview did not have a lot of substance. I think most people would agree. Now, I just want to go over maybe three things that I think that Tiffany should have answered. Right now, there are some questions that are unavoidable. So let this play.
Let me magnify what the super mayor is saying. When she said control the purse, that's a political verbiage. She's talking about maintaining the fiscal budget and access to it, right? So, Lena, in other words, don't sit tight. Hold her accountable. And I'm saying this, well, she looking me dead in my eyes with these big eyes of hers, because she's right. We are sandwiched in between, right? And often, Lena, I feel you, like most things is for the elderly and then the youth, and then the rest of us, we just own our own. It's not just a Dolton thing, and I'm not defending or negating, but to hold her accountable is to come up with something creative and innovative to capture the in between. Are you willing to do that, Super Mayor?
Of course I am, because think about it. I am a trendsetter. So everything I have produced, every town has mimicked. So if I wasn't doing something right, why are you mimicking my formula? So other people don't make them first, but I did in my community. Then when the board saw I was getting so much traction on helping everybody, they start to destroy.
So that question that was asked, that was a young woman that talked about that Tiffany caters to the elderly and caters to the youth regarding a particular program. And I think my assessment of it is that the reason why she caters to those groups, right, the elderly and the youth, is because typically those are the groups that can be kind of played with a little bit. The people in between, the middle agers, if you will, the 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, and 50-year-olds, those are typically the professionals. Those are the typically the people who are the most astute voters, and they're the ones who notice when something is wrong. And I think that that's why she caters to those two groups, in my personal opinion. But there's more than that. Like I said, there's some main things, and I'm gonna just go over those three main things real quick before I play the rest of the video. The three main things that I think that Tiffany did not answer was, why was Fania Dukes fired? Is Dolton in a deficit? Did it become a deficit? Is she, in these last 4 years, did she leave the city or the village in worse position than when she started? That's an obvious question. And then three, Lori Lightfoot's report. Is Lori Lightfoot's report wrong in regards to spending? And if there is mismanagement that was found in the report, if she and her administration didn't do it, who is she saying that did it? So I think those are very basic questions, right?
Now, how do you synergize and channel that for those that care about Dolton, as opposed to throw away the baby with the bathwater, right? So you got some infighting going on. That's noted, but yet and still, you ain't backing down.
Correct.
Right? And at the end of the day, it's up to the people to say yay or nay. And when folks did say nay to the recall, what did you say then?
I thanked them. I went door to door. I spoke to everybody, and I appreciate them for allowing me to continue what they started. They elected me. There's no way I should have been in a recall. I just got in office, and every single judge told them that. But yet they went to every level, circuit court, appellate court, Supreme Court. Every one of them told them, no, we're not recalling Tiffany Henyard. And I did not get recalled. So I was able to keep my seat, because remember, we just got in office, not 2 weeks in. My board was already bought before I even got settled. I didn't know what a light switches was or what nothing was in Village Hall to start the infighting. It was ridiculous.
Now let's just simplify this, right? So I think that throughout this drama with Tiffany Henyard, there's a lot of different details and different gripes with different people. Now, if you just simplify it, in any town or village, or city, right? It's very simple. Either you are operating within budget or you are creating a deficit. This is not unique to Dolton. This is any city, village, township. Either you're operating within budget or you're not. And I think the biggest issue that caused the infighting is that she, from the early on, and I talked to Jason House along with Vivian. We had a great interview with Jason House, and that's what he explained from the beginning. And again, everybody can see this because these are the gripes of the board meetings that they had. Almost from the beginning, she was starting to spend money that was not approved or over what would normally be spent. And if her issue is that she was not, I think this was an opportunity for her, Tiffany, I mean, to really address whether they're in a deficit, whether money was mishandled or overspent. The deficit or lack thereof is the main thing that I think Tiffany should be addressing, because all this other stuff doesn't matter. If you're in power, either you are running a deficit or you're running this town being fiscally responsible. And she doesn't answer these questions, and these are the things that people realize. And you got to understand that. Here's the thing: I want to parallel her to Kamala Harris. Now, on this inauguration day, if you voted for Kamala, no disrespect. My point is that Kamala ran a campaign where there are certain things she didn't want to answer. Certain things you could tell that her handlers told her, just don't answer it. And how we've changed as a society as far as voters, you can't go through a campaign and not answer very important questions. And those are the very important questions. We're talking about the budget of Dolton. Is there a deficit? Is there not? And I think if she addressed that, that would be very helpful to her. But because she doesn't want to address it, she's talking about the infighting, but not talking about why. It can't be that the board and everybody just hates you. It doesn't make sense. These are people who are on your ticket. Why do they automatically hate you all of a sudden for no reason?
So after that, then they removed me off a bank account, which was illegal, unconstitutional. I had to fight that for about a year in court. They put Jason and Allison, they walked into a bank branch, put Jason on a bank account, and removed the mayor of the town off the bank. Where's millions of dollars? That's why I said people don't know half the story. They just know what the news feed them, but you need to go chase the facts.
She needs to present the facts. The facts are you started having issues with your board, and it was because of finances. So if they're wrong, you need to present the facts. They went and hired Lori Lightfoot, put together a report that she didn't like. However, Tiffany says, "Oh, I'm going to show my facts." But the thing I don't understand is that if the election is next month and she's in campaign season, if she's going to present some information that is going to be mind-blowing and show that, no, if there is money mishandled, it wasn't me, it was so and so and so. She better present these facts pretty soon, because, but I don't think she's going to present it, because again, this falls under one of the three main things I talk about that she doesn't want to answer. And it's not going over people's heads. That's the problem. People are noticing this, and this is going to hurt her more than it will help her. So she might as well not even done the interview. And it's the same thing I was saying with Kamala, there were certain interviews where she was asked specific questions that she just kept sidestepping or just didn't answer. And those things in today's voting world, those things in today's political world are hurtful. You have to answer things.
And in doing so, guess what? I went on account for a whole year. So again, you keep saying Tiffany over this, Tiffany over that. That's not true. I don't deal with money. I don't move money. None of that's true. But this is the false information that's out there. And that leads me to this with Lori. She came and did a report. My board hired her and wanted to pay her.
She's talking about, y'all, listen, she's talking about the former mayor of the city of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot.
That y'all fired, right? Y'all said, get out of here. And y'all said y'all want Brandon Johnson, right? Okay, so why is she in my town? Why is she in Little Dolton, that's 23,000 residents, fighting with me over whatever they think it is, right?
If someone does a special report and you disagree, then what do you have to counter that? Tiffany has nothing to counter that. She just doesn't like it. Why is Lori Lightfoot in your town? Because your board suspects there is misspending and they needed somebody to come investigate it.
The board hired her $400 an hour. That's what, $100 every 15 minutes to pay her and her staff, not just her and her staff, to come and do an investigation, right? If you got the feds there and all these people there, they trump everybody. So why are we paying money that y'all claim we don't have, number one, right? And then y'all bought her here for this political theater that you see going on, and then she give y'all a report. She give you a report with no substance, no information. She didn't itemize it. She didn't tell you what it is, but she wanted you to believe that I was the one spending or doing things. I give you prime example. Amazon bill. They said they spent $40,000, right?
Mhm.
And they alluded to it's the mayor. It's Tiffany. Tiffany don't do
40,000
nothing
in one day.
in one day. I don't do shit with credit
Ooh,
cards.
that's
Nothing.
good.
Nothing with credit cards. Nothing with money at all. It just bothers me because it's just the lies they tell and I start getting attacked, right? Off a lie. And like the lady said before, she's right. You get attacked and got to fight the lie, and you start to tell them, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. It's not me.
So what do you say to the trolls? Because, I was going to wait and see if you brought it up, but even down to your wardrobe, right?
Mhm.
This is what kids.
Now you see right there that Cleopatra totally is helping her to sidestep the question. So if Lori Lightfoot's report showed 40,000 in one day, and Tiffany, obviously, if you watch the interview, she's going to say that it was for the ice skating rink. That's cool. I'm not here to debate that. But at the end of the day, if the $40,000 was legitimate, Lori Lightfoot presented this preliminary report months and months ago. So if it was wrong, and it's easily explained, why wouldn't the mayor go back at the next meeting and just say, look, in regards to Lori Lightfoot's report, these things that she found, we did some research and this is what it was spent for. Why now, months and months and months later, you're talking about this? Now Cleopatra is going into her wardrobe. And, let me say off top, there's a couple of things I do agree with in regards to Tiffany Henyard. Things I agree with that she said during this interview is that her personal life is not important. In my opinion, who she's sleeping with, what she wears is not important. People will comment on it, but it's irrelevant at the end of the day. I do agree with that. However, I think that Tiffany Henyard likes people talking about other things because I believe she likes the distraction too. Although she says she doesn't like it, she does indulge it. She likes the distraction because if you didn't, how you shut down a distraction? You just present your facts. You just present the facts that she keeps saying that she wants to present. That's how you get rid of the distraction. If you come forth and say, look, this is what we spend it for. This is why. And here is my report. We're not in a deficit. This is what we spent. We are in budget. If she presented something like that, no one would give a damn about Kamal or her clothes or her hair or whatever it is. But she doesn't present those things because she knows there's something probably wrong, right?
Kills me.
Mhm.
So it was one picture where folks found an outfit that they found on Amazon and alluded that because of the 40,000 in one day,
Ridiculous.
you went shopping.
Ridiculous.
And you saying that you didn't have access to the credit card.
I don't. It tells you, like everybody got Amazon accounts, right? It tell you who bought the item, when they bought the item, what the item is. Why didn't she tell y'all that? But I'm gonna tell you
So
on this
you
show
tell us.
today. On the show today, when I did my research, when I saw that fake report went out, that's why I don't trust nothing they say or people they bring in because it's all geared to make one person look bad to try to make them look good and cover up what they've been doing. And that's what I'm going to expose. On that one day, you know what they bought? Ice. For the rink, ice. That's what it was. I made Janice and Mike Smith, when I was trying to appoint him as my assistant and my VA and all that, I had them go do the research for me and tell me what those items were. And they came back, and that's what it said, ice. And the ice is for the rink, where you put the little pieces down and have ice so they can ice skate.
Mhm.
That's what it was for. But yet they alluded to, I went shopping, I bought this, I did that. Not true. All fake.
So it was one purchase.
It was
And
one,
this ice skating rink, was it in the town?
it's for Dolton. It's Dolton.
Now, if you go back and you watch Lori Lightfoot present the evidence, she didn't allude that Tiffany spent the money. All she alluded was that there's a credit card that had $40,000 spent in one day at Amazon. That's all that she was saying. She didn't say anything about Tiffany. The reality is that hit dogs holler, right? So again, and Tiffany also says that, I'm going to expose what they've been doing. I'm going to expose it. Now is the time to expose it. I don't know what she's waiting for. I would love to see it too, because I've been watching this drama like everybody else around the country and probably the world and saying, okay, it looks to be that the mayor is wrong. It looks to be that she has driven this village, a town that I grew up in. She has driven this village into financial ruins, and it appears that way. You know what I'm saying? But people would love to see anything to the contrary if she has it. But again, it doesn't look like she has it. Now, Cleopatra is doing a really bad job interviewing.
But they bought ice. And that's what it was. That's what the money was
I
for.
ain't read that nowhere, so
No,
y'all
you
got
know.
that here.
Yeah. So I wanted to give you that little piece of information because I'm doing my report too. So when I put my facts out in my report of my own, because I'm going to get facts, they just give you a fake story just to make you look over here, but you should really be looking over here. It's just a distraction to make a
Jennifer.
person do something.
Jennifer, let's take your call real quick. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
Cleopatra, and happy MLK Day. I was listening to Tiffany when she said that the people fired themselves. My question to Tiffany is, why would she fire a sexual assault victim that was sexually assaulted, allegedly, by one of her her trustees in Dolton? He is yet working, but she fired the victim. My question to her is, why would she fire a victim and keep a predator on the payroll?
Now, Jennifer, before I let you go, I do want to, for those that are listening, I want to magnify alleged because he has not been found guilty, correct?
I said allegedly.
No, I know that, but when you said
Now look at Cleopatra coming in to try to save the day. Now the question is very simple, but Cleopatra needs to clarify that it's alleged about Andrew Holmes. Of course it's alleged. Everybody knows that, and the caller said it was alleged. But again, the real question is, why did she fire Fania Dukes? And it is a question that's unavoidable, and that's something that Tiffany knows. She doesn't want to answer it. I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't there in Vegas. I wasn't there in the meetings that she had with Fania Dukes and whoever else was in the room after they got back to Illinois. I was not there. But what I do know is that her assistant, who accused Andrew Holmes, was fired. And the question is, why was she fired? That is a very valid question. Even if Tiffany doesn't believe her or believes her or whatever the case is, what happened? Because minus the accusation about Andrew Holmes, Fania Dukes would still be working as Tiffany Henyard'S assistant, making $130K a year, right? So, and I'm not judging that. I'm just saying that that's a fact. Fania said it herself that it was a great position. She loved working for the super mayor. She loved the salary that she was making, and that's what it was. But she had to come forward with these allegations. And the question is, why did Fania Dukes get fired? I think it's something that Tiffany needs to answer. But Cleopatra is doing everything in her power to, again, let's deflect. And it's not working.
sexual predator, you're still putting him as though he is, and he has not been found guilty yet, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, because I want to be mindful as a mother of two Black boys. When we talk about this Black man and this Black woman and the word allegation, until he's found guilty, I won't allow us to call him a sexual predator until I see the results of the finding of the jury of his peers. And I think that's only fair.
That's why
So
she's
I thank you for your call, and she's going to respond, but I needed to contextualize that.
So you should ask her, why is her husband stalking me? Why I'm in court with her husband stalking me at Hooters? Come in the window, peeping Tom stuff. Like, this what I'm dealing with. You got all them haters on there. That's all haters. I can tell you every last one of them. That's why I say, so when I
what
talk,
she's
I do want to
referring
talk.
to is, like, let me break it down. Super Mayor can see the names, right? And she's correlating some of the experiences. And I want you to answer, because we talked about this real briefly before we go to break. Andrew Holmes was in play before you got there, correct?
He was already a trustee.
That's what I mean.
So you see here, the question just wasn't answered. Now, Jennifer, who called in, it doesn't matter whether Tiffany doesn't like the caller, does like the caller. It doesn't matter. Regardless whether the husband is stalking you, whatever it is you're saying, regardless, the question still wasn't answered. Why is your assistant who came forward with an allegation, why did she get fired? Because it looks suspicious. It looks like you're trying to cover something up and get her out of the way. That's what everybody's looking at. And, you know, there's no indictment against female leadership that Tiffany Henyard is talking about. There's nobody trying to bring her down. People just have valid questions. And again, there's a lot of different details throughout the whole Dolton and Thornton Township drama, no question. But there are those main things. She hasn't talked about the budget. and or deficit, right? She hasn't talked about any of that specifically. And she's running for re-election. If you're running for mayor, you got to talk about your town or city or village. You got to talk about the budget. What's going on with the budget? Is there a deficit? Is there not? Two, the person who got fired in one of the biggest scandals during her administration, Phineas Dukes, no one knows why she got fired. There's no answer. Andrew Holmes, whether you believe he did it or didn't believe he did it, he hasn't said anything either. And honestly, him not saying anything makes him look guilty. But not saying anything in this political environment is the worst thing you can do. We don't live in that world where you can just sidestep and just play politics and say anything. That's the exact reason why Kamala lost. All these YouTubers, all these reporters, all these everyday citizens making videos, they're all paying attention to everything. And if you don't answer questions, the average person who's going to be voting for you, as well as people who are not voting for you but are looking at you as far as if you wanted to go to another office one day or whatever the case is, this is not helping Tiffany Henyard.
One of the deficits may be for services, but when you haven't had trees pruned in 30 years, I mean, either you're going to do it or you're going to be out. Right. So one thing we know about any elected office, are you performing the roles and responsibilities of that office to sustain your seat? And the biggest thing in your domain and in your world is constituent services.
The question was not about Andrew. Well, the question was about Andrew Holmes, but the question was simply, why was Phineas Dukes fired? It's a very simple, straightforward question. It would be better if Tiffany just said, you know what? I don't want to answer that. I'm not going to answer that at this time or something. But this host has tried to answer the question for her and really try to deflect away. So we're talking about how Andrew Holmes has not been tried and he's not guilty and he's innocent to proven guilty. I think we all agree upon that. However, that was not the question.
Right. And whatever that looks like, how does it involve the super mayor? And the bottom line is, well, she led the trip to a economic business development conference that her entire body went to because the opportunities are endless.
Yo, you see how she skated that whole question? She helped Tiffany Henyard skate the whole question. Just skated it. Why was Phineas Dukes fired? Let me say that again for the people in the back. Why was Phineas Dukes fired? A reason, any reason, whatever reason. These are questions. People did not miss the fact that Tiffany did not answer that. People did not miss in relation to constituent services, right? Every mayor in every town, again, this is not specific to Dolton. Any mayor delivers constituent services, but every mayor has a budget. It was budget issues that started off the infighting, quote unquote. So Tiffany doesn't want to answer that. I think this was a really bad interview. I think Cleopatra Draper should kind of rethink what she's doing here if she's going to interview anybody, because to get someone up there in Tiffany Henyard's case, in the situation that she's in, how tumultuous the town has turned, all the things that have happened, these aren't things just happening out the blue. And I think it would be helpful, again, not to do all this talking. The interview could have been a lot shorter. I think she could have picked maybe 3 things that Tiffany should answer in some level of depth to help her. If she wanted to help Tiffany, that's my opinion. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Crucial Combo.